lovers. It's hot here in South Carolina. It's got me thinking about the Big Easy. And of course we love the Morgan silver dollars around here. Those New Orleans silver dollars, especially from the 1890s, are just full of questions and problems. So we're going to take a look at that today. So check this out.
Wow. Boy, do I need practice. Sound like Bill Clinton on the saxophone there. Jeez. That was horrible. Hey there, coin lovers. Scott here for Hoogie's Hobby Shop. And we're going to talk today about, as I said, the New Orleans Morgan silver dollars. We love those silver dollars. You can see my awesome Ponderosa map behind me here because that's my favorite of the silver dollars is Carson City. Of course, the Bonanza Cowboy Show was allegedly filmed at the Ponderosa. But before we get started, I got a couple of procedural things to say. One is special thanks to Lemonhead Penny for the awesome black nitrile glove, which I always love these. I may have to put the Ken PV slot in the part there. But those are good. I always like the black gloves. Don't know why. And speaking of Ken PV, we want to thank him for the OBS lesson that he gave us on the show. I think my old software was OSB, so it worked for me. I got around on it okay. But OBS is a whole lot better because I can do cool things with it, like go over here and then show a coin. And boy, that's a flat one. There's a bug in here. Flat struck coins, and that's the book on the New Orleans silver dollars, is that they are flat. Take a look at this one here. See that hair? Pointy stick. Also special thanks to Waffle House for the free pointy stick. Right across this part of the hair, noticeably flat. Now that's not wear on there. It's just never had those details on this coin. The little wear is showing here. You can see if you look closely with a loop. The USB microscope doesn't necessarily pick it up, but you can see with a loop that it's got that dull gray look to it right there. And down a little lower, there's another high point, and it's missing some detail there too. This is 1892, and it's coins like this that have given the New Orleans Mint Morgans a bad name. They weren't all flat struck. In fact, the first few years were really pretty decently struck. You can find the first year was 1879, the next year was good, 1890, 1880, and then 1881. Those first 3 years, you can find some very good struck coins in there. And there's plenty of them that are graded at MS65 and higher for people that are interested in those investment grade type coins. The 1892, you ain't gonna find many of them. The ones that are that higher grade, they're tied up, and they are very expensive because there's just not very many of them in that high of a grade. The series all through the 1890s, in fact 1889, 1890, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, you can skip 96, and then 97 and 98 were all terrible strikes. It's just plenty of bad strikes all through those years, the 1890s and also 1889 of these New Orleans silver dollars. You can see the O right down here at the bottom of the reverse. So what do you do when you got a coin that's struck this flat how in the world can you grade it? Well, I think the third-party grading services actually cheat a little bit, and because there's no really high grade coins to be had, they sometimes stretch the grade. I saw just in May of this year, 2018, it was a Sotheby's auction. They auctioned off it's a high grade 1896 Morgan from New Orleans, and it was $225,000. And I saw the picture myself. I don't really want to show it here because Sotheby's might not like that, but I saw the coin, and it was flat too. It had some flat detail, right? Kind of like this next one does, right there above the ear. It certainly was not full struck. Okay, now that being said, let me say a couple other things. First of all, I'm going to turn the music down a little bit and go to right here. And most of you know, folks, I'm not an expert numismatist at all, but I'm a student of it all. I'm not an expert. I'm certainly not an expert sax player, that's for sure. That thing's horrible. I need to get it overhauled. But I do read lots of books about coins, especially the Morgan silver dollars. Here's a few of them here that you might want to check out. This one here, it's a coffee table book. Morgan silver dollar by Miles Standish. And it's okay. It's thin, but it has pictures. And who doesn't like pictures? Right? Color pictures. Some of them, you know, some pretty good information in here. And towards the back, it gives a little roundup of each year. What is characteristic of the coin in that year, and it does all of the mints for the Morgan silver dollars. It goes over them all. So that one is the Morgan dollar. Pretty good little book. Like I say, it's kind of a coffee table book. You want to dig a little deeper. And by the way, if you're going to get into investment grade coins and stuff, this one is absolutely a necessity. The Morgan and Peace silver dollars. This is actually, that's what the true title of it is The Comprehensive Catalog and Encyclopedia of U.S. Morgan and Peace Silver Dollars by Leroy Van Allen and George Mallis. And if you've ever wondered why they call the errors and the doubles and all that stuff with Morgan silver dollars and Peace dollars, why they call them VAMs, that's it right there, because of Van Allen and Mallis, V-A-M. V-A-M is Mallis. Now, what they would do in the absence of Mallis, I'm not sure. I guess they would just call them VAs, but that's the comprehensive catalog. The third book, and this one's my favorite, the Morgan and Peace Dollar Textbook. I mean, it's out of print now, but you can get it on Amazon used and stuff, and it's not super expensive. I forgot what it was, maybe $40. Well worth the money. And this one goes into pretty deep detail about the origin of the coin and the rigmarole that all went through, that they went through. Incidentally, the comprehensive catalog does that too. The early days, I think that's the one that has, it actually shows the telegraphs that went from George Morgan to Henry Lindemann and all of that stuff when they were trying to get the coin right that very first year. And they had to make so many changes. That's why you see so many VAMs and the 7/8 tail feathers and changes to the reverse, all of that stuff. They didn't change the obverse that much, but boy, they gave that reverse a fit. And Another book to check it out is this one that I find very, very helpful around the hobby shop. Is Making the Grade. This one is put out by Coin World, and it has multiple contributing authors, I guess. But Coin World, you can subscribe to that for free online, and you might want to do that. You can see stuff like that. You can see stuff like that $225,000 New Orleans minted coin that was sold at Sotheby's back in May of this year. So this is a good book here. I go to it all the time. Let's take a look. I'm gonna push me out of the way. I would encourage anyone who's interested in the Morgan silver dollars to check out these books. And there's a handful of more that are real popular and real informative. In this here book, in the Making the Grade book, one thing that we need to look at is the high points on the coin. Now I've tried to show it, you can't really, you see those? I don't know, can't really see that. So let's take a look here. And there they are. Those are the high points. You got 3 on the hair. One at the up here, one at the ear. That's the one that everybody always looks at. And the one down here is what's called the bear claw. We'll take a look at the bear claw in a little while. Don't forget the hat, the Phrygian hat. Over here, this is a high point here, okay? And it's a high point right at the top of her cheek and her eyebrow. This is Anna Willis Williams, who was the model for this thing back in the day when they first made it. So keep those high points in mind. Remember, there's 3 on the hair. Those are the 3 primary ones. So we've seen Anna Willis in the grading book, and like I say, I'm not an expert, but I'm a student of it all, and I'll share what I know. From my experience, it was some of the students that taught me the most when I was in school on my tour of the various majors available at the big university up the road. Let's take a look at another coin here. All right, so that one was we've seen the 92, which is the standard bearer for flatness in the New Orleans coins. Okay, there's the reverse. You can also see incomplete feathers along here. There's really only 2 high points on the reverse. One is right there on the bird's breast, and the other is right up here on the top of the bird's neck. And you can see actually there's some wear showing on that neck right there. Now, when you're grading the coins, it is the wear that brings them down from the higher grades. Let's see, here's one. It's pretty well struck. It came from a good year among the New Orleans silver dollars. It's in 1898, and it has, you may not be able to tell, it's got some fantastic luster. It's got like day one brand new kind of luster. Not fully struck, very typical of New Orleans coins. You can see some flatness there along the hair. You can notice a little bit of flatness up in this area over here. And we'll look down here at what is known as the bear claw. Why do they call it a bear claw? Well, if you take a look at that little curl, boy, it's hard to do with this stick. That little curl right there, that area, it kind of looks like a claw, like this. And the more detail you can see on there, it's one indication of the quality of the strike. Now, This is also an area, if you look to when you see missing detail in that area, it's a high point. Remember from the book that we looked at a little while ago, it's a high point. So if it's like dull gray in color, you're going to need some pretty good magnification sometimes. And I like this thing. I got this on Amazon for, I don't know, 10 bucks maybe. And it's got two lenses. It's got one I can see the entire coin with, and one I can really get down and I can see details. I can see RPMs and double dies and very, very small things. I can also see the detail on the bear claw. We're going to have to move our scoop. Take a look at that. So hang on just a sec and get things rearranged here. There's your bear claw in there somewhere. Here we go. We're getting close. I see the numbers. And just north of there, it is in there. Back up a little bit. Alright, folks. Yeah, I'm about as good at this as I am a sax player anymore. I hope none of my teachers hear that thing. That was bad. There's the bear claw. Okay? It's right there. If you find the numbers, golly. There's the numbers, the date, and go north of there, of the last number. There's the bear claw. And you can see it kind of has what looks like claw-like fingers that a bear might have. And most of them are there. That's really a pretty good detail. You can even see kind of up and further up the heel, towards the elbow of this claw. Now I like to also look at the large curl right there, which I cannot even. Gosh. But right there is a pretty good detailed little curl, and when that thing is not showing, that's one indicator that it was just a poor strike. I can check to see how the luster is on that too. Gotta have good magnification to do it though. So keep in mind when you're looking at these things, you got the bear claw, and there's what I call the other bear claw right beside it. Now you will almost always see poor detail right there above the ear. That's Anna Willis's ear right there. And this one is pretty well struck. Like I said, you can see there's some hairs all separated into locks and all right through there above her hair. And some pretty good detail up. This is her forehead and stuff. So yeah, once you get really down into the coin here, you can see that it does have some pretty good strike details on that. Now, that coin there will probably grade. We're going to look at it larger. You cannot grade coins from a tiny spot like that. And really, you about have to have these in your hand so you can see the luster and the grayness. And then here we go, we're getting there. Put her down here where we can see more of the coin. I'm just now getting used to this scope. I've had it for some time now, and this is the kind that has the gooseneck apparatus to hold the business end of the microscope. And when I got that thing, it had the cheapest little junky flat piece of Chinese junk that was supposed to hold this thing up, and I immediately got rid of that and threw it over there in the corner. And I cut myself a piece of corian, which is And this stuff was about a 1/2 inch thick, and I made a piece big enough to use. I drilled and tapped a 1/4 20 hole and screwed it right in there, and it works great. I got no complaints at all now. You can even take this coin and turn it. I take the scope and turn it sideways because of that gooseneck, and look at things diagonally. Like I have a coin over here that has some little minor scratches on it. This one has some pretty drastic scratches right straight down Anna Willis's face. Anna Willis had a tough weekend at the Big Easy, I guess. Come out scratched. So anyway, that one is the 1898. Let's look at the reverse. Now on the reverse, we're looking for what? We're looking for details on the bird's breast, which I can't even point left-handed. The bird's breast and the upper part of the bird's neck, which is right there, and I really do not see wear showing there. See some funny looking contact marks or something on the bird's breast maybe. But this coin is what we call down south a heap sight better than that last one. That 1892 was just flat. This one here, you can see all the little hair details. I see a little bit of rub on that one. See a little bit right there. That may hold this down to maybe an AU 58, but probably because it's a New Orleans coin, it would probably just go for maybe a MS 60, what they call a basal coin. That is, it's at the base grade for mint state. Doesn't really matter. Those are not worth a whole lot of money. This one, and that one just came out of my collection, so you know. 1899. 1899 was a good year for strikes, as I recall. Let me check my list. Nope, I take that back. 1899 was a poor year for strikes. 1898 was a good year. 1899, but this one, I'm seeing some bear claw details down here. Where is it? Right there. See the bear claw? I'm looking over here now. The other, what I call the other bear claw. Nobody else calls it that, but I do. The other bear claw, it's got jack for details. There's nothing there. I mean, I don't know. I guess they were just never there to start with on that strike. And up this way we can see some of the flatness even at this poor quality of magnification. We're gonna try to fix that a little bit. Maybe a little bit better. But can you see the flatness? What should be like peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys. They're like rounds and valleys and rounds and rolling meadows and little little cities on the hill up there and stuff. A lot of these details here should be, remember that's a high point right up there, and it's got some missing detail for sure. 1899. Let's take a look at the reverse, or the back if you prefer. And we have some decent detail on the bird's breast and upper neck. It's looking pretty good. The rest of it is in good shape. It's got some scattered, ordinary, just random marks here and there. There's some ugly scratches up there around In God We Trust. Wow. Yeah, I'd have to look at those pretty closely, but I would say this one here is headed for AU. Probably. Let's take a look again. Probably AU 55. But we do have some good detail on it, and got some pretty good luster on there too. By the way, in case anybody wants to know, these are cotton bolls for which the boll weevil gets its name. The boll weevil chewed through the cotton crops of the South back in the day, in the plantation days and just after. Up here, these are wheat. These are ears of wheat. Alright, they got some leaves go with them. These leaves around the cotton bolls, well, guess what? They're cotton leaves. And we always look to see that they're nicely separated. That leaf there and the leaf that's right underneath it need to be nicely separated for it to get a decent grade. Mini coins, unless they're a key date, I don't really even care to fool with them unless they're very special for some reason. Cotton bowls here got some very nice details. You can see the texture of the cotton in there. You can certainly see those lines that are part of the grading system. If you were to look in the grading book, this is the grading book that I like, as you know. They talk about those lines in the cotton bowls as being important, for, say, for fine grade. Now, let's take a look at the reverse again. Did we see the reverse? Okay. Looks real good. This is one that had those scratches in it. Okay. That was 1899. Now here we got. Wish we could do a side-by-side comparison. If I had 3 microscopes, we could do it. But this is one of those bad years for the New Orleans. We'll take a look at the back first on this one. It is an O. You can see the O right there underneath the wreath. And you can see some missing detail on the bird's breast. The neck area looks better. Let's flip over quickly. And we're just going to dwell on the high points here. And boy, that's kind of that. Now they're supposed to be flat. They're going to be flat around the ear. This one is a pretty extreme example. Up here we see a little flatness too. We might even see some abrasions in there. But look at this, boy. Look at that bear claw. It's like it ain't even there. The claws, it's like an amputee from the woods or something. He's got nothing for claws to speak of. And I don't think it's because of wear. If you look around the other parts of the hair, not extreme wear. I do see some. There is some wear showing. That right there, I think, is a bad strike. I have to look at it with the scope. I mean, with the loop. But this one, boy, it's missing some detail. This is what you call a bad strike. Look at the other bear claw. I guess this was it Ursa clawis major? This would be Ursa clawis minor over here, maybe. A little Latin. Never hurts to put some Latin into your videos, right? Another thing I always love to do is quote people. Love to quote, especially Albert Einstein. Nobody will argue with you if you quote Albert Einstein. So, all you coin lovers who do your channels, don't hesitate to use Albert Einstein as a source. Now, okay, we've already looked at the reverse. That's good, scattered marks. So what do you think? Give this thing a grade. Boy, give it I don't know, AU, bottom of the AU scale, probably. All right, that was 1897 O, and I might just leave it out here just for future reference. Let's take a look at a group. Well, this is a coin of the same year. This one is from San Francisco. You can see the S. It's a San Francisco coin. This one, San Francisco coins are notorious for being well struck. They put a little more time into the basoning of their dies. That means the polishing the flat part of the die where the field, what would strike the field, and they put more time into the annealing process, annealing the metal and cooling it slowly so that it moved around correctly. And so some of the very best strikes have come out of the San Francisco Mint. Look at that bear claw on that thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. That may be the worst bear claw yet. But look at the rest of it. San Francisco is notorious for having lots of detail in the center, here, around the cotton bolls, hair, even the eyes, the eyelid, so forth. They are not famous for high quality and well struck stuff. Where's my stick? Around the rim. Some people, and I don't buy into it 100%, but some people say that they can tell where if it's a mint state grade, they can tell where the coin came from just by looking at the tentacles. Well, that might be a handy thing to know if you're trying to buy a very high priced coin, like a key date, say maybe a 1893 S or something like that, that's in mint state. Well, you're not going to want to pony up that kind of money. That's going to be a lot of money. I hate to even think how much that is without verifying it. Those are the coins you only want to buy from that are certified and graded by third-party grading, respected third-party grading service. Don't buy it from, Joe's Coin Grading. And if it has my name on there, run like the wind. Let's see. Let's check the reverse. We're looking for detail on the high points. Bird's breast shows some signs of wear there. I would say I would look at that closely with the loop. The neck, I'm not that impressed with the detail on the neck. And all around here, everything else looks pretty cool, pretty well struck. So remember that the San Franciscos are notorious for being well struck, well detailed out in the middle of the coin, around the ear, cotton bolls, leaves, whatever, all the middle, ear, a little curl. The Philadelphia Mint, that's the 1897 right here. Yes, this here's a Philadelphia 1897, and it's very comparable in quality and grade. You can see it shows a little better strike detail around this ear area. You see, then that is better than the New Orleans, which is right here. We can switch them off quickly, maybe. Look how flat that New Orleans is. Okay, and then look how flat the Philadelphia is. The same exact year, probably twice as much detail. And if you're not used to looking at it, you may you may get fooled by the luster on the other one, or something like that. Alright, so we got pretty good detail on the hair. We got pretty good, what we got down here? We got pretty good detail down there at the old bear claw. I can see some claws in there. They all look, in line with one another and stuff. And the other bear claw, it looks like it's some detail showing there. This is also an AU grade coin, and it has very good cartwheel luster. You probably can't even see it on there. Probably can't even see it without a bunch of camera finicky stuff. So that's good. Looks like the hat's in very good shape. By the way, sometimes a bad counterfeit will show around that hat because they cast them. And something about the shape of this Phrygian cap, and you can bet that old George Morgan knew all about that when he designed the thing. But there's something about that cap that's hard to cast in a mold. It has to be struck to look right. So keep that in mind. It's also, for some reason, the Chinese counterfeiters can't get this. I think it's the RIB area. They can't get those letters quite right. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that too. There's getting to be more and more counterfeits. I'll tell you, they're even counterfeiting the slabs and using a legit number and putting it on a counterfeit slab so that somebody could look it up in the, say, PCGS website, and they could look up a number that's a real coin that was graded and is fake. And one thing you can do, they tell me, now this is people that know better than I do, certainly, is that you look up at the top of the slab, there's a blue field in it, and it's not uniform color. It kind of fades to, I don't know, from blue to a really light blue. And inside that light blue field there, about halfway up, you'll see red dots in it. So you have to get out your handy dandy loop or whatever it is you use. Check out the field on those things, and do check your website and make sure the coin at least has a number on the website and has been verified, graded by the third-party graders that they claim. Now we were going to talk about, which one was it? It was San Francisco. Okay, this one has that funky looking bear claw. I want to look at that, and this may take a second. Look at that thing. Where is it? It's in there. Alright, there's the number. There's the bear claw. And you can see that some of it is gone. That's probably signs of wear. I don't know. Look at that more closely with higher power magnification. Check it for dull grayness in color, which it does not have. It appears to be just a bad strike. So, which is probably the reason I got it for such a good price. One reason. My LCS people, they love me. Facebook's friends with them and everything. But and we go to concerts together and whatever. It's pretty cool. But they had a batch of the guy who owns the store. He knows I've been thinking of the New Orleans coins here. A couple of these I bought just recently, and so he had a batch of New Orleans slabbed coins that came in, and they sent me a Facebook, like they tag you on Facebook. So now I'm drooling over that and can't wait to get out there and check those out. They look to be, very tempting. Let's move our scope back down to the bottom where we can see more of the coin. And the scope is just that way. Like I say, Just now getting used to it. If anybody has this kind of scope, it's the what do they call the thing? Pluggable 2.0 USB microscope. And you hate the little cheap stand that came with yours, we'll have an email address up at the end of the show, and just send me an email. I've got a little more of that stuff, and I wouldn't mind running out a couple of those and sending them out. If you got the pluggable 2.0 USB microscope and want to upgrade the base on it, I can drill a little hole. All you got to do is screw the gooseneck piece down into the hole and plug it in. Alright, next thing we need to take a look at is these oh, let's go back upstairs. We're going to take a look at that San Francisco. I tell you, right when I got serious about coins is when my eyes started to get weak. Here we go. The San Francisco coin. Let's see what it looks like there. These are, I hope, high enough grade we can see something. Alright, look at those tentacles. They run straight from, where's the thing? Where am I? They run straight up into the rim. There you go. They go from out near the numerals, in this case, straight up to the rim, and there's no real line or anything that delineates between the two. They just kind of flow up to the rim. It's not true on every single coin, okay? You guys know coin collecting has enough contradictions in it to keep you busy forever. Here is this is a Philadelphia coin, same year, same grade. Look at those tentacles, and this is characteristic of Philadelphia. It has this, where am I? It has this little line, which I can't even, little line. The tentacles don't just slope straight up to the coin. There's a little step where the rim is higher than the tentacle, and that's very indicative of a Philadelphia strike. Now, that doesn't mean it's always that way. Look, if we spin the coin around where there's more wear over here, then it looks kind of like that San Francisco did, where it kind of just slopes up. So this really only works in, mint state, and certainly high mint state. That's a little bit of a detail showing there. It looks kind of lumpy in that part, but you get the idea. So that's the San Francisco. That's the Philly. Now the worst of all is, guess who? The old gal from the Big Easy. These, you can see the gummy looking stuff in between the tentacles. This one right here is the New Orleans. I'm gonna set the Philly right up next to her, and we'll take a look at them together. Golly, they look like they're together. Wait a minute. No, I'm not touching the face of the coin with my finger. There we go. Kind of got them. All right. What do we see? Well, don't see very much difference right here. I can turn it. This camera can move around. The Philly denticles are typically longer. They just slope down to the face of the center of the face of the coin. Gosh. And that's the Philly, And the New Orleans, well, you never know what they're going to be. That's got a ding in that one. They got junky junk in between them. They are typically flatter. Sometimes they do show that little detail around the rim in high grade. This one's not really showing the story I would like it to, because it's too darn well struck, probably. But the really poorly struck ones, let's see what it's got. This is at 92.0. See the 92.0, and it's just flat. Some of this is wear, but even like right there, you see it's just like kind of rounded over and sloppy. In many cases, it just slopes straight up to the rim, and that's typical of New Orleans. Now, what some people, unscrupulous people, will do is they'll find a key date, like, let's pull this down. Can't move my screen thing now. They'll take a key date, like say 1901 Philadelphia, and they'll obliterate the O that's on the back, and they're almost always in circulated condition. But circulated in 1901 is still a lot of money, and so what they'll do is they'll remove the mint mark altogether, kind of dirty it up, and put it on eBay. And you can see many times a smudge right on what used to be the mint mark. It's just smudged, and they'll sell that thing, to unsuspecting buyers, and pay a lot more than what it's really worth. It's really worth the cost of a New Orleans, and they'll sell it as a Philadelphia. They do it the other way too, where they'll take a Philly coin that has no mint mark, and they'll take a year that's a key date for, say, another year, and they'll take maybe an 1881 Philly, and they'll put a CC on the back where the mint mark would be for a Carson City, and they'll pass it off as a Carson City coin. And doing that takes some skill, but there's plenty of people that have the ability to work the metal, and can unscrupulously sell coins like that. So keep an eye out for that. I always see that kind of stuff on eBay. We're not going to look at eBay right now, but we see it all the time, where the key date has a little funny looking problem around that mint mark, or around the numerals. They'll love to. You've seen Ken Peavy talk about how people change the Lincoln cent numerals to turn it into say a 14D penny, when it's really a 44. But keep an eye out for that stuff. We just about done here. If you've watched the show to this point, then that means that you're moderately interested in what's going on, and that's a good thing. And we want to show our appreciation. If let me move this up. We'll hit this here. We want to show our appreciation by having a little impromptu giveaway, and today's prize will be a brand new, not this one, this one has yellow stuff sticking out the top of it, a brand new edition of Making the Grade, which you can put to good use in your own collecting, or you can sell it if you like. No hard feelings, there's no strings attached. Do whatever you want to do with it. Use it to like I always say, use it to swat spiders with, or you know, put it on a bookcase behind you on your stream and make you look all smart. Put it up there with like the Art of War or something. I don't know, but all you gotta do, be the first one. Comments down below, be the first one. We got one book, and be the first one. Leave a positive comment below down here. Negative comments don't count. Positive comment, and then email me your shipping address. Email is right there, and that's not my normal email. That's one I use for spam and a lot of other junky stuff. Some of you already have my email, my personal email, and that's cool. You can send it to me there. But Cartwright's.vest. Don't forget the dot. There's a dot in there. I don't know. I think some other guy had Cartwright's vest, and I chose that because of I told you about the bonanza thing going on. When I first started, I got into the Carson City coins because I liked when I was just 5 years old, maybe, watching Bonanza, and it was always real cool to me to watch Bonanza, and Hoss Cartwright was my favorite. Well, actually, Adam was my favorite. Adam had the cool hat, and Adam was the smart one. And I spent a lot of time watching Bonanza. And Carson City, of course, is right there near the Ponderosa, as you can see on the map up here. So Carson City coins, and I always think of Ben Cartwright. He had that vest, remember? That big tan colored vest, and he and Hoss would be in town or something, and Ben, you know what he'd do? He'd reach in that vest. He had everything in that vest, but in the saloon, he'd whip out a couple silver dollars, pay for everybody's drinks. It was real cool. And I mean, he had more than money in that vest. It was like a filing cabinet for him. He had the deed to the land he just bought, or you got a receipt for them cattle? He'd say. He'd reach in his vest and he'd pull out a stack of papers. He sure do, So Ben Cartwright was pretty cool, and I always admired him especially for that awesome vest. So cartwrights.vest@gmail.com, right there, and we'll see all you guys on YouTube. Don't forget, drink your cranberry juice. It's very good for urinary tract health. And of course, as the tenured professor of the YouTube coin community, Ken Peavy, he's tenured, I guess. As he would say, stay groovy.